they got the knowledge you crave. Hard hit, inside gonna make you win. Listen up, closely let the games begin. Top pick sleepers every week I spin. The FF universe, it help you win. The fantasy football universe.
What is up, Fantasy Football Degens? We are here, week 13, live and in color, rolling into the playoffs. It's myself and Jeremy Schulman. How you doing today, Jeremy, before we get into this?
Yeah, living large, living extra large because of the Thanksgiving food I am still digesting. It's not a pleasant scene here, but it was all for the love of the game on Thursday. Had a good time, a little too good of a time, but enjoying those leftovers. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Hopefully you're good like Kyle Monunga good. Talk about, that was impressive. We could talk about how ridiculous that game was. But yeah, it was a good weekend. Like, we had fun with family, friends. Hopefully anyone who's watching had the same experience, enjoyed your holiday time off. Family, friends, that's what it's all about. We're is kind of what I want to call, like, find out worthy players, guys that we're in to start who are kind of off the beaten path, not your traditional. We're not talking about, like your raw RB1 Christian McCaffrey. We're going to push down a little bit farther than that this week. So we figured we'd give you guys that potentially, and with the news of Darren Waller coming back, activated off the practice squad, we can talk about him as well too. But these are guys that we are looking forward to starting down the stretch of good schedules, working them in their favor. So I think we can kind of get into that. Is there anything that stands out to you, Jeremy, before we get into this of what makes these guys, if we're looking at like the flex around players, like what highlights those players compared to others? What's the things you're looking for?
Yeah, I think this week we don't have any bye weeks, so we don't have that to worry about. But of course, we still have a lot of these injuries where maybe we're expecting Amari and Hampton back. That's not going to happen this week. Maybe we're counting on Bucky, but who knows if he gets a full workload this week? Maybe there's a situation like T. Higgins, where he was helping us down the stretch, and we don't know if he's going to be back next week, and he's already out here. We don't know how long that's going to last because that was a rough shot that he took. Injuries are piling up.
Yes.
We need guys that we can plug in a pinch. So the idea is, who do I need to stash on the back end of my benches? Of course, running backs help. So we'll go through a number of those guys who are potentially still available, but wide receivers, even some tight ends as flex plays, those guys stashed on the end of your bench can help in a pinch if needed, especially if you deal with injury.
Yeah, because we're getting that point of the year where a lot of our depth that we thought we had to go into the season is not really there. We talk about Trey Benson's another name, who's a guy that's out once again, who we've been hopeful these guys are coming back into very good roles, which we were projecting for them. And for one reason or another, it has basically been a wasted season for the Bucky Irvings and the Trey Bensons and the Omari and Hampton. These are three running backs that all have big promising stats for. So we kind of have hopefully you picked up Kamani Vidal, or hopefully you've been kind of pinging back between Arizona Cardinals running backs because they've been kind of hit or miss, but if you played it right, you can get going. So without further ado, let's get into these guys. Do you want to talk about running backs first, wide receivers, tight end? Where should we start this fun rodeo?
I got a few good wide receivers, so maybe we can leave the running back stashes to the end. But my first guy that I want to talk about is Chimere. I don't know how to pronounce it. Dike. Dike. He's shimmering Dick himself, straight out of Tennessee. You got to love him. Last week at Seattle was the wide receiver 9 in half PPR. That's 7 targets, 5 receptions, 44 yards, and a score. He's done this a couple of times this season. He's had 2 better games, one where he scored and one where he didn't. That's all over the past 5 games played. Cam Ward is developing. This offense is getting better, and Calvin Ridley out for the season. So I really like DK as a play. And then, of course, you can bring up, why don't you bring up his schedule, and I will type in. Actually, I might have to scroll for his name. Sheesh.
So if you want to get a DK schedule, we talk about it for a second. Let me pull it up. As we go to Tennessee, by the way, I do want to say he is on pace to set the NFL record for all-purpose yards among all players of all time. DK is on pace to do that, which is crazy. Not a lot of people are doing special teams leagues, but if you're in those leagues, he might be the most valuable player in your league. So he could go from a guy that we're talking about, wide receiver 36, to wide receiver 1 overall. I found that stat very interesting. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Here he is right here for number 56. And let's see if I can scroll a little bit here.
Yeah, not bad at all. Not bad at all. So if we talk about it,
hang on.
There he is right there.
I know, but it's not letting me scroll. This damn thing.
Oh.
All right. No, I can't get to it.
It's all over the place.
All right,
Don't
so
worry
who
about
cares?
it.
Yeah, if you whatever. Let's just get back to this. Jacksonville this week, that's a nice matchup. Cleveland, not a great matchup. But then San Francisco, Kansas City, who will score on Tennessee. And Orleans. I like a lot of these matchups. I think at least in 3, if not 4 of these 5 remaining spots, Dike can be a serviceable flex play for you if you need him. He's proven he can do it. And like you said, he will break the all-time yardage record. He's getting those return yards. If you play in a league with return yards, depending on your scoring, he's potentially the number 1 overall player ahead of Jackson, who's setting records, your boy. So absolutely ridiculous what Dike is doing. I think he's a back-end wide receiver 2 rest of the season.
Yeah, I think he definitely has a pathway to do that. What you want out of see with Cam Ward is them develop that connection a little bit weird because that offense has been flatly all over the place. And Cam Ward has been like, there's highlights we'll see every week where Cam Ward puts these insane throws on targets. And you're like, how is this guy not better? And then you watch the game and you go, oh, okay, he's fighting for his life out there and doing that because
really is.
He's projected for almost 70 sacks on the season. So he's pushing the NFL record on that too. So it's just
unreal.
He's fighting through it. I think we've talked about this in Discord quite a bit. Like moving forward, they have the quarterback in Tennessee. They really have nothing else. So they need to revamp and build everything around him. Hopefully Dike can be a piece of that because he's shown enough out of those wide receivers. I know there's a couple of guys that they drafted this year as well that are not really living up to it. He's been the best of the bunch. So with the schedule and everything, I'm kind of there with you. If you were going to say rest of season ranking wise, do you think he is going to end up in the flex range? Do you think he like maybe falls out in like wide receiver 40 range? Or would you push him closer to the wide receiver 2? Because you said like back end wide receiver 2. So you got him like wide receiver 24 a season, give or take?
Yeah, I think he's top 30. I think we're looking at 30. I think that's reasonable. The question, really, what that's going to come down to is he going to be able to consistently score a few more touchdowns?
Yes.
In his last, I got Jayden Higgins on the brain here, so I got Jayden Higgins up already, who's kind of the next guy we're going to talk about. But let's see for Dike. Like I said, the wide receiver 9. So this is his last 5 games in half PPR leagues. Wide receiver 16, 15, 46, 75, and 9. So if he can do that over the next 5-game stretch, we're looking at a top 30 wide receiver. That's 2 touchdowns. That's roughly 25 receptions. That's roughly 350 yards and a couple of touchdowns. That puts him in wide receiver 30-ish range. So yeah, I'm happy with him. I'm happy to flex him. I think Cam Ward has looked good, like you said, in flashes, and the matchups line up for him, especially in a couple of these weeks. And there's nobody else. I mean, that's also a factor in this. Cam Ward is going to have to chuck it. He's going to have to come back from behind against Jacksonville, who's looked great. He's going to have to come back from behind against San Francisco, who will be healthy by week 15. He's going to have to come back from behind against Kansas City in week 16. And so he's going to see all of the potential targets he can muster. And then in those other games, they're good matchups. So I think you can comfortably flex him rest of season. Hopefully you have better options, but if injury hits you, this is a guy I want on my bench so I can plug him in.
Yeah, 100% it makes sense. And on top of it, Ayumanara was the guy early in the year who got the targets, had the role early on where he's pushing 70 to 90% of the snaps. It's kind of gone backwards for him a little bit, and Dike is kind of taking a step forward. Also, Ayumanara is dealing with an injury too on top of it. I'm not sure what his tag is for it. It's questionable. So with him really not being on the field, I mean, you're talking about Van Jefferson. No one cares about Van Jefferson. We've seen this experience with him. He'll probably have one game this year where he puts up 140. You're like, where'd that come from? And then he has like 20 yards the season on top of that. So yeah, I'm with you. The passing attack is concentrated around him. He's like a good stash. I'm totally on board with this. I think this is a good call by you to roll with him and flex around and find out, see how it works for you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dynasty Dogs.
Hey.
Thank you for joining us, Mike. Mike's a little under the weather, but we always appreciate the sports. Thank you for joining us, Mike. Happy to have you with us. So you said you had the next guy queued up, and that's Mr. Jayden Higgins.
Yeah.
What stands out to Higgins about you? Because we're getting Stroud back. Stroud cleared concussion protocol. He is good to go. So the difference from Davis Mills to CJ Stroud, how do you think that kind of works well with Higgins to move forward and makes him a viable flex play moving forward alongside the king that everybody loves about is Nico Collins there?
Yeah, I think that's why I like Jayden Higgins. For some reason, they're not using Jalen Noel, who's looked fantastic, but the guy's not getting on the field enough. I don't know what the hell that's about, but Dalton Schultz clearly isn't the consistent number 2 option in this offense. He was doing well, in Davis Mills' first start. He did well in a game or two with CJ Stroud, but he just doesn't come in consistently for you. You know who comes in consistently for you is Jayden Higgins. First of all, they're playing him more in the last 5 games. His snap percentage has gone up. It's roughly, I'm eyeballing here, but it's pushing 70%. It's probably high 60s in his snap percentage when he was high 40s for the first 5 weeks of the season. The other thing is the targets. In his last 5 games, his targets have significantly ballooned. 8, 1, 7, 7, 9 in his last 5 games. That's also correlated with 3 touchdowns in those 5 games. He's a red zone weapon. And you mentioned Nico Collins. It's because Nico Collins is seeing the coverage. Listen, this is not George Pickens, but this is the George Pickens effect, right? This is like George Pickens is going off. Is he better than CeeDee Lamb? No. CeeDee Lamb is one of the best wide receivers in the league who is seeing the dominant coverage. And sometimes Dak is like, I'll just throw it to a wide open, phenomenal George Pickens instead of CeeDee Lamb, right? Nico Collins is the best receiver on the field, but Nico Collins is seeing the coverage, and not only the best cover guys, but double coverage. And the coverage is shading him and shadowing him. Jayden Higgins is therefore left in one-on-one coverage. He is developing very quickly. He's a good receiver, and he's used in the red zone. 7, 7, and 9 targets in his last 3. That's roughly 4 receptions a game. That's roughly 45 yards a game and 2 touchdowns in his last 3. He is coming along. They like him. They're using him, and the schedule opens up. It's Indy this week. You got to love that. KC, so he's not going to see McDuffie. We know McDuffie shadows. We watched it last week. We watched CD eat him alive anyway last week. And then Arizona, Vegas, and the Chargers to round it out. So Jayden Higgins has a really good opportunity to continue his upward trajectory. I like him as much as I like DK to stash, especially in PPR leagues. And so all of those numbers from correlated here: wide receiver 20, 92, 24, 33, 22 in half PPR leagues in his last 5 games. So he is the back end wide receiver too. He's already that. Can he progress even further? Can this offense cook? I don't know, but it's nice to see his usage and his performance in the second half of this year as a rookie.
Yeah, I think Higgins is very interesting, and you brought up Noel. I like Noel a lot, but Christian Kirk is very much a stopgap to him being on the field a lot because they're still trying to win games. They have a chance to make the playoffs, so they're still doing that. So as long as Christian Kirk is there, he's going to block Jayden Noel. So we have Higgins there, and no one really cares about Xavier Hutchinson. He's more of like a big slot. He doesn't do much. The interesting thing about Higgins to me is he's basically the Nico Collins prototype when Nico Collins was coming out. That's why they drafted Jayden Higgins to kind of develop to have these 2 monster outside wide receivers who can kind of dominate, get down the goal line, give them a touch. So I think he's interesting. His profile wasn't the best coming out, but yeah, he's taking a step forward. And to your point, he's in that 60 to 70% range, which can be frustrating for when we're consistently counting on these guys because you have to get efficiency in their nature. We're hoping that ticks forward more as the season goes on because he's not a round 1 rookie wide receiver because round 1 rookie wide receivers, they start out strong and don't really progress. Round 2, round 3, round 4 guys, they progress as the season goes on. So I think he's got a little bit going in his favor. And I know Stroud's had a really bad year. It's not going all according to plan from him, but he's still a good quarterback who can support wide receivers, and this is what we're looking for. So unlike Cam Ward, where he's still dealing with the issues of offense, CJ Stroud is at a better place and point in his career, and he's got Nico Collins take away the targets. It's all kind of shaping up for him. So yeah, I think I probably would slightly prefer these 2 guys, Higgins to DK, but I think they're in the same range. And if we get him closer to that 80% routes run, then we're really cooking with gas because that's going to bring the floor up, and that's what we're looking for. So, yeah, I think he's a fun bet rest of season. Their schedule is a lot worse. Their schedule is one of the worst against moving forward for wide receivers for fantasy points. But, yeah, he's just a productive young guy, and we like betting on rookies in the second half of the year. So it's all turning up roses for him. So as long as he works that way, works pairs with Nico, you got a guy you could be flexing and having a good time in the playoffs. So, yeah, I'm all aboard this one, too. I think this is a good call by you as well.
Appreciate that. I know we were talking a little bit about running backs. I think you have at least one name, maybe two.
Mhm.
Who are you thinking are really good stashes and guys who could end up finding a role in your starting lineup as a flex at the running back position, especially in case of injury? Who do you like?
So the one guy that's on all rosters right now, but that I like, who's established himself, who's gone on the Raiders, Kenneth Gainwell. I think Kenneth Gainwell has, for whatever reason, Arthur Smith likes this guy. I'm just done arguing with Arthur Smith at this point. What's interesting is how this has played out. Is basically Jaylen Warren is in the Najee Harris role, and Kenneth Gainwell is in the Jaylen Warren role, and it's the weirdest thing of all time. So if you look at it through the season, Kenneth Gainwell is pushing almost 50% stop share. He has a 15% target share. No. I did not stutter with that. 15% target share in that offense. He's top 5 in the NFL among running backs. This is also due to the fact that Aaron Rodgers does not want to take hits. He's getting the ball out anytime he gets pressure, and it's a ton of dump offs to Kenneth Gainwell, who's doing the long down and distance. He's doing the 2-minute drill, so he's getting all those high value touches in there. And he's also been efficient. He's been really good this year. Yeah. If you look at him across the board, like his explosive ratings, top 20, his fantasy points per opportunity is number 7 in the NFL. He's got 20 red zone touches. Like, it's all there for him. And I know, like, Rodgers is trying to play through the injury or whatever it is, but still, this is working really well for him. And you saw the games. Like, even when Jaylen Warren was hurt, he balled out. He had a 30-point game a couple weeks ago. He had a 29-point game a couple weeks ago. He had a 30-point game early this year. I think it's all setting up there where it's a cap ceiling a little bit with Warren there, but you have a guy with a decent floor each and every week for you. And their schedule, it's pretty sweet moving forward.
It's really nice.
Yeah, so we'll talk about a lot of Steelers in this because their schedule is so good. Too bad the offense is a little dysfunctional, but the pathway is there. This will segue into Dike at some point, but I just think he's a good player in a good offense, and they like to use him. So that's where you got. It might not be sexy putting him in your lineup as a flex or RB2, but when you look at the end of the week, he's going to have 12, 14 points. You're going to be happy with it. So I think Kenneth Gainwell, as frustrating as it is, as Saquon Barkley managers know previously and stuff like that, it's going to be fun. So I'm all aboard Kenneth Gainwell train. I think in Dynasty, you can get him for dirt cheap, and in redraft, you just plug him in there and just, have good performance for you.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't mind both of these Pittsburgh backs, but I do prefer Gainwell. I forget if it was Matt Harmon or it's probably a JJ Zacharyson stat where someone did the math and they calculated it was 2.5 times better for running backs to have a target in the receiving game than a touch in the run game. So those are the guys you want to target, but obviously you need elite volume there in the passing game for that to equal out. Well, guess what? Over his last month of the season, 5, 3, 8, and 6 targets for Kenneth Gainwell. He's turned that into, it looks like, damn near 150 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns through the air as well. Oh, and last week against the Bears, 10 for 92 on the ground. So Kenneth Gainwell has been getting it done with efficiency on the ground. He's been getting the volume through the air. And the schedule, as you mentioned, is sweet. Buffalo, you can run all over them. Baltimore, they're probably out of the playoff hunt at this point with Cincinnati coming on after that big loss. Miami, been a little bit better, but still not good. Detroit, and some of the things that I like about these defenses is they may be a little bit more stout up front, but running backs in the receiving game can get over on these guys. And that's exactly what Kenneth Gainwell is. And you mentioned the Aaron Rodgers issue. Not only does Aaron Rodgers like to get it out, he needs to get it out. He's got a broken wrist now. That guy, you thought he was releasing the ball quick before. We're going to see Peyton Manning levels of don't touch my neck sort of check downs to whoever the hell is in the vicinity. And that's going to be Kenneth Gainwell. I love this call. Running in half PPR leagues with all those receptions, RB5 and RB11 the last 2 weeks. Yeah, they were cupcake matchups, but he's got a lot of those still left on his schedule.
Right. Yeah. 100%. I think that's what it comes down to, right? It's all working in his favor. When we talk about flex players, we're not talking about guys that are going to, maybe they get lucky and an injury happens for them and they turn into these valuable guys, but we're talking about guys that we think can finish in that flex for you. So guys that are going to give you double-digit points or have a pathway to doing that each and every week. And if you get that out of there, that high floor is all that matters because you should have the high-end players as your RB1, your wide receiver one, your quarterback, stuff like this. We're trying to find guys that round out your roster for teams that need it down the stretch because there's a lot. I have a lot of teams, and I'm sure you do too, where you're missing a guy or you need another guy off your bench to come through, and you hopefully have these guys. You're like, you know what? I'll plug and play this guy and see how it goes because these schedules are working for them.
Absolutely.
I think there's another running back. We can kind of talk about the Washington backfield and how just like chaotic that seems to be. I think you can make the case for Chris Rodriguez. Now
I
I know
almost
he's very
did.
game. Yeah, we'll do this
Yep.
right now. We might as well.
And
He's very game script dependent.
Steven, give us a couple minutes. We see your question. We'll get to it shortly.
Yeah, he's very game script dependent. They need to be leading. But for whatever reason it is, I know everyone was talking about Bill crossing Chimere. Like, that's just shit that's kind of sailed. They clearly do not trust him. He's not a pass catcher at all. So they're fighting for the same role. And Rodriguez has overtaken him in snaps and routes and all these, not routes, excuse me, snaps and touches the last couple of weeks. They clearly like what he's doing. And you saw it a couple of weeks ago. Like, he's been pretty efficient on his touches lately, where he had a game with like 15 for 79 against Miami. I know that's a good matchup. But even in the game against Seattle, he had 12 plus touches. The thing that worries me is they're playing Denver this week, so it's probably going to be pretty ugly. But once you get past Denver, Minnesota has struggled. The Giants have struggled. Philadelphia's defense just got absolutely destroyed in that game like yesterday watching that, which was the most mind-blowing thing I've ever seen. It was like 250 rushing yards from those two guys. So I think once we get past this Denver game, which is going to be tough, and they're going to need him to score a touchdown. So I don't know if the double digits are here this week, but after this week moving forward, I think you have a pathway to getting that there. And there's always the upside case that Jayden Daniels does come back towards the really end of the season, and then you do that even though their season's like pretty much toast. I think they just kind of want to see what they have between these running backs. So what you were talking about almost making the case for him. What do you think about Chris Rodriguez? Are you on board with him and willing to see it out, or are you kind of with those trepidations with it?
Yeah, no, I'm totally willing to see it out. I mean, Bill just wasn't getting it done. He was highly efficient early on. The problem is when Jayden Daniels is out of the lineup, as you referenced, those RPO, whatever he's going to do, if he tucks it in the belly of a back and then continues to do whatever the hell he wants to do with the football, that opens up a lot of rushing lanes. That opens up a lot of guys, in the short yardage passing game. Chris Rodriguez is the guy now who is fully taking advantage of that. Over the last couple of weeks, he scored 3 touchdowns in his last 5 games. They're finally utilizing him, like you said, at almost a 50% clip, at least in the last week. And then they had the bye week to kind of reevaluate this. Like you said, it's not Denver. That's a great matchup, but the rest of the way is a good matchup here. And if Daniels comes back, I think that only helps him because it opens up the offense. Terry McLaurin is back. They have their field stretcher because Noah Brown has been out, right? So there's really been nobody in this offense who's been threatening enough to stretch the field to keep defenses honest. You're going to see defenses have to back off a little bit, especially when Daniels returns, because Mariota isn't the deep passing threat that Daniels is. So I like all of it for Chris Rodriguez. All of this will create space in the run game for him. And after this week 13 matchup, which also look out, people in your redraft leagues with shorter benches might drop Chris Rodriguez after this game. If he has a poor game, I think he can volume to a decent day. But if he doesn't, look out for him on the wire and go snap him up. I think he has a couple of really good games down the stretch.
Completely agree. I think there is a pathway to it, and that's all we're looking for here. The other guy, which, I mean, he was like the number one pickup on waiver wires this week, is Devin Neal. And I kind of want to talk this through with you and see where you're at with Devin Neal, because the pathway is there for volume. I just don't know how efficient he's going to be and how much volume he's going to see. So if you picked up Devin Neal on your waivers, where are you? Are you willing to start him as like an RB2? Are you flexing him? Or are you keeping him on the bench? What's your kind of thought process on Devin Neal? Because their schedule is pretty nice on the stretch as well, too.
Well, let me ask you this, because I don't know the situation. What is the Alvin Kamara injury situation as of today?
It's pretty bad. They haven't put him on IR, but I'm expecting multiple weeks. MCL injury, I don't see him expecting him to come back anytime soon. So I think we probably get 3 to 4 weeks, maybe. Okay. And their season's cooked anyways, too. So I don't think they can really force him back, right? So I think it's setting up there because, like, we already lost the one running back that everybody likes, but he's out for the year, too. Why am I up? Kendrick Miller. Kendrick's gone. So, like, it's really Devin Neal and nobody else in the New Orleans backfield. If you know Kamara's out for the next – oh, you another guy there? Taysom Hill,
be careful.
Everyone's favorite guy. Taysom Hill, everyone's favorite guy. So he actually did see a decent amount of work once Kamara left. They were like giving Kamara they were giving Taysom Hill touches. That's what I'm curious to your thought process on Devin Neal. Where are you at with him? Because their matchups are good. Are you willing to see it through with him, or do you kind of want to keep him on your bench until you kind of get more information on him?
I'll grab and hold him against Miami. this week against Tampa, next week against Carolina, against the Jets, against
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee. The schedule's phenomenal for Devin Neal. I
Mm-hmm.
think he'll volume his way to a decent day. He did that last week at Atlanta, which is by all accounts a pretty good defense, only missing their starting nickel. Divine Diablo kind of shoring up that defense and making them average with his return, but it doesn't matter. Because teams are still able to get over on them. Devin Neal was RB 25 and half PPR leagues, and he was just 7 of 18 on the ground last week. 7 targets, 5 receptions, 43 yards. Devin Neal will find the end zone here and there. He's got great matchups. He can volume his way. The concern, as we were referencing, is Taysom Hill stealing all of the short yardage and goal line work. That will nuke Devin Neal's value. So I am concerned about that. I think these are winnable games down the stretch. Like I said, Carolina, Jets, Tennessee in your fantasy playoffs. So I think they're going to be utilizing Taysom Hill even more. It's not like they have a quarterback that they're excited about on the roster.
No.
They've already benched Rattler. I don't think they want to or can bench Tyler Shuck. He's been fine, but he's not like a startable talent really at this stage. So Devin Neal, I like him. I hope he can take over more of the workload, but 74% of snaps is what we want to see. He's on the field, but 7 carries out of 74 snaps is not what we want to see. We need less Taysom Hill. I just don't know that we're going to see that.
Yeah, and 74 total snaps is a lot for an offense of the game. Like, that's pushing. Like, anytime you get near 80 snaps offensively, that's really good. The interesting thing for me is he ran 70+% of routes. So if he's going to be the guy getting all the routes out of the backfield, I think that elevates the floor, because we were talking about Gainwell. Very similarly, I think he's just going to get more touches than Gainwell. It's just how efficient do you think he's going to be? Because his true yards per carry are 3.6, so that needs to get better. But if we're getting close to 20, like 15, 20 touches in a game, it's going to be hard not to start this guy on your teams where you're scraping it at RB. So I think we're talking ourselves into Devin Neal. It doesn't feel great, but those do remember he is the all-time leading rusher at Kansas. He has shown throughout his college career that he was a bell cow. So I think it's capable in his range of outcomes. Not an explosive athlete by any means, but you don't have to be a running back. Look at these running backs doing it. I think athleticism, I've kind of shifted my tune to that, is very overrated at running back at this point.
It is.
For the most part, as long as these guys step in. Like, Monungai looked like the slowest potential workout guy in the offseason, and he's just absolutely dumb trucking fools. So, I think it's good. Do you want to, what should we go? Do you want to do quarterbacks or, I guess, quarterback we can talk about.
Well, let's segue into this because we were talking about the Saints. Steven, thank you. Would we start Darren Waller this week ahead of Jauan Johnson? Jauan Johnson, for reference, is my tight end 9 on the week. He's got a good matchup. We mentioned it's Miami. Miami's been okay. It's mostly that front that's been better. They can't really cover anybody, so I'm pretty happy with his matchup this week. But in the same game, Darren Waller, he's enticing. What are you doing?
Yeah, I think Jauan Johnson's been really good. The last month plus, since week 7, he's tight end 13, tight end 10, tight end 9, tight end 3, tight end 12. So he's been very, very good this last half of the year. And he also had some really good years, like weeks early in the season. I think the floor is higher with him because Waller's coming back from injury. I don't know how much usage he's going to get in this week, even though everything is setting up for him to be really good, because he gives them a touchdown presence, which they really lack in Miami down at the end zone. Like, you have a 6'5" guy who's like 250. It's like, you just throw it up to this dude. I think that's a pathway that's always interesting. And I love these freak athletes at tight end. That's the one position that it absolutely matters. I'm just a little bit worried about Waller this week, but rest of the season, I bought Kittle on a team, and then I have Waller for week 14 for that perfect bye week replacement. I'm thrilled with that. So I think moving forward, I'll be willing. Like, Waller's just going to default into my top 12. Like, I already know how this goes for rankings because tight end's ugly. It gets real bad really fast at tight end. So I don't know if I want to start him over Jauan Johnson, but it's going to be really close. I'm going to think about it a little bit more. Now that he's officially active, I have to adjust my ranking. So I'm going to TBD that. I'll say Johnson for now. Are you going to do Johnson or are you going to do Waller this week?
I'll go Johnson. Johnson, I feel, has the safer floor. Darren Waller's got the ceiling, right? Johnson really doesn't have the ceiling that we want to see. He's very unlikely to be a top 6 tight end in a given week, although it's possible. Scores a touchdown, gets the volume, great. But that's not anything that we're really banking on. When we're ranking Jauan Johnson, he's going to be ranked outside the top 6. If Darren Waller comes back and does what Darren Waller was doing, Darren Waller will be inside the top 6 weekly in terms of the ranking because he was absolutely dominating fools. I just don't know if that's the case. So I'll go Jauan Johnson, but agree with you. It's going to be really close. I think Darren Waller will end up like tight end 11, and I have Jauan at tight end 9. So
Yeah, I think like Waller's probably still available in a couple leagues. Like people should go grab him immediately if you need a tight end because he had by far the most upside of any tight end. Like it really wasn't even close. Like there's just nothing at tight end, and then there's Darren Waller. It's like this is perfect. Like go get him if you can still get him because you're gonna be very happy with Darren Waller.
Yes, sir.
All right. Oh, Mike, let's answer this question. So Mike wants to know half PPR. All right. So the Bucky stuff is concerning. He might play. I mean, he's gonna play, but it's gonna be limited probably. I don't know. Are you doing Harvey in a really good matchup against Washington? We just talked about Neal's matchup. Yep. Where are you kind of at with these three this week? Because I think Harvey's probably the safest of this group, to tell you the truth, because that matching watchup was good. But yeah, go ahead, take it.
I'm gonna say this real sultry for Mike because I know he's gonna enjoy this one. RJ Harvey is my RB13 this week in half PPR leagues. He's gonna destroy Washington. Sean Payton won't be able to keep him off the field. Maybe he gets 10 touches and scores 3 touchdowns. This is the RJ Harvey week that we've all waited for. Jaleel McLaughlin and Tyler used to be a baddie. Now he's a bidet. It doesn't matter. RJ Harvey's going off this week. I have him miles above these two. I don't want to trust Bucky. Devin Neal is like RB 30-ish for me this week because of the very real Taysom Hill effect. It's RJ Harvey by a ton. RB 13. Let's go.
Yeah, I think if we knew Bucky had the role, it would be a different story because Bucky would be the top. But this week, I think you just have to be patient with Bucky. We've waited basically the entire season. You could wait another week. It's frustrating. Trust me. I have freaking the league we're talking about. I have freaking Trey Benson and Bucky Irving as my RB1 and RB2 in that league, and it's killing me. But such is life. You have to survive and make it another league. Yeah, I'm with you. I have Harvey's RB15. I'm debating moving him above Brees. That one I'm struggling with. Struggling with it. I know it should be there. Washington's matchup's really good. I probably will do it. I'm just fighting myself on it because I'm like, ugh.
Jesse, I've got him above Ashton Genty.
That's the one. So that's the decision point. It was Genty and him, and I was like, one spot. All right, let's do it. Yeah, I'm there with you. It's so bad with Genty. God, he's such a good player too. Such a frustrating.
He is.
Yeah. All right. Is there? I think we kind of talk about maybe like because we didn't even talk about the San Francisco wide receivers previously. Let's talk about that, and then we can probably wrap it up. How are you feeling about Jauan Jennings? I'm all over the place right now. And Ricky Pearsall. Who of those guys do you prefer? Because Jauan Jennings has been like the guy that's been really good this year. Pearsall had one blowout performance early in the season, has been dealing with an injury, hasn't fully come back. Are you willing to just ride out Jennings, or at some point are you going to put Pearsall above Jennings for the rest of the season?
No, you have to go with Jennings. Pearsall is a non-factor. I know he's coming back off a ridiculous, pretty much all-season injury. I know he was looking great, but Jennings wasn't, these guys weren't playing and fully healthy in the beginning of the season, right? Week 1, Jennings was wide receiver 85, playing just 66% of the snaps. If I remember correctly, he was just ramping up off of, a bit of missed time in the preseason. So, no, he's the clear guy. The thing is with Jennings is he's got to score a touchdown. If he doesn't score a touchdown, you're not happy. And he barely scored a touchdown last week. It's been kind of rough. He's a wide receiver 2 for you, which is fine, which is totally serviceable and playable, but he scored in 3 of the last 4 games and still just manages wide receiver 2 numbers. It's George Kittle, it's CMC, and it's really nobody else in this offense right now. This offense is not good enough to support that much. So that's really my issue with him. He's fine, but Ricky Pearsall, I need to see it. Right now he's on my bench. So that's how I feel about those guys. Yeah, it's just a shame.
It's tough. Scott talks about Pittman. We could talk about the Colts and how frustrating that offense is going to be moving forward. Because I don't know if you saw the video, but Danny Dimes was hobbling, looking rough, which means he's not mobile anymore, which means that is a big joker card he has, right? This offense also has one of the worst remaining schedules rest of season. I think we need to significantly tamper expectations with the Colts. Jonathan Taylor is whatever. Jonathan Taylor's been awesome. You're really not going to do it with Jonathan Taylor. I think Tyler Warren comes down a little bit, but not much. It's really Pittman and Alec Pierce. I think that's the biggest hit in this offense moving forward. Where are you at with those two guys? And then we can kind of get these questions to wrap it up out of here. Are you confidently still starting those two, or are you starting to bench either one or both of them moving forward?
Yeah, I'm really glad Daniel Jones will suit up and play this week against the best pass rush duo in some time in the NFL. It used to be Micah Parsons and whoever the hell was opposite Micah Parsons. At least Rashawn Gary's got a little juice left. Now it's Danielle Hunter and that guy Will Anderson. Keep in mind they have like some big bodied boys who can move the pile and get to the quarterback themselves in the middle of that line. And they got Derek Stingley, Petrie manning the back end. Like, this is a complete defense. They're not fully healthy, which at least helps Daniel Jones. But Daniel Jones has a fracture in his fibula, and he's just going to go out there and hobble it. This is stupid, by the way. This is like career-ending stupidity. Hopefully it isn't. But after this, it's Jacksonville. Jacksonville's proven they can get to the quarterback this season. Then it's Seattle. Then it's San Francisco. They're not fully healthy. And then it's Jacksonville again. Like, this is not a good run out for Daniel Jones, as you mentioned. And he's hobbled. He's a big no for me. You have to drop him in 1 QB leagues.
Yeah, going against Houston and Seattle's defense those are two of the best defenses in the NFL. Like, they're at least top 5 at a minimum. Like, they are nightmare matchups. Good luck, Colts. It's going to be rough. I'm fully at this point expecting Houston to win that division. Well, I mean, Jacksonville could, but Jacksonville's they're an enigma. I have no idea what to think of Jacksonville. It's just chaos. Somehow they're going to win that division, maybe, but it's just ugly as heck. All right, let's get into these questions. We got one from Jason. Thank you for the question, Jason. Start 3. One must be a wide receiver. So let's pick the wide receiver first. So Scary Terry, and I don't see another wide receiver here. So Scary Terry, there's that answer.
Portland Sutton.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Are you going to – that's
yeah. The difference is it's the same matchup, right? So I think at this point, I haven't checked it since Thanksgiving, but Patrick Surtain was tracking to play, right? He was getting the practice in. So you let me know if that's still the case. So I'll take Sutton against Washington. They can't do anything on defense at all in a nice little matchup against potentially Patrick Surtain on Terry McLaurin the entire game with Marcus Mariota throwing the football. So
and he's coming back. I'm with you. It's his first game back too. Like, I have no idea how that game's gonna be back. He's been probably the biggest disappointment of where he was drafted in the entire season, just due to injuries, but it is what it is. And then outside of that, okay, so you got 2 other guys. Kyron, I feel like Kyron's the auto starter of this group, but Kyron, Tracy, Neal, and Vidal. So for those that don't know, Martin Hampton's out, which pushes Vidal back into that bell cow role. Are you willing to do Vidal in like a pretty good matchup, or are you going to do Neal or Tracy? Because Tracy's been doing pretty good as well too.
Yeah, I have these guys back to back to back. So I got Tracy at 28, Neal 30, Vidal at 31. I'll still go Tracy because he was the other guy I was going to bring up, Jesse, in the running back stashes. He's got the last 3 games. He's seeing over 14 touches on the ground in every single game. He's also receiving a few targets in the receiving game and making the most of them. He's got in his last 2 games, he's averaging something like 130 total yards. Hasn't even scored a touchdown and is the RB14 and RB12 and half PPR leagues. So he's getting the volume. They finally realized now that Brian Daboll's out the door, they finally realized that they should be using the explosive guy back there instead of Devin Singletary, whose usage has mostly fallen off the map since his big game when Daboll was still throwing him in there. You got to use this guy. 71% of snaps last week as well. That's going to continue against New England this week. And then the bye week, Washington, Minnesota, Vegas to run it out. So I absolutely love Tracy rest of season, but I do like him this week too, up against those other guys.
Yeah, I think the New England matchup worries me because they're so good against running back, like yards per carry and stuff. That's the thing that worries me. So he's going to be the lowest of this group.
Fair.
Neal walking into Miami, like, that's a good matchup. And then Vidal against Vegas, like that just sets up really well too. So
it does.
This week, I'm going to bench Tracy of that group. Right now, I have Vidal above Neal just because I don't know what to expect on Neal moving forward. But yeah, I would go Kyron and Vidal. And then, but they're all like solid RB2-ish plays.
Definitely.
You kind of in that back end RB2. Yeah. Kyron's the auto play. You just go with it. I know people are worried about him, but I don't know why. He sees 70% of snaps opportunity. Just does what he does. All right, let's go. Another question. Start 4. Two of them must be running backs. So we got Genty, Cook, Rico Dowdle, Jalen Warren, Pittman, Shakir, and he needs upside. So how on this? I mean, we're just going to say James Cook's an auto start of this group. Like we don't have to get into that too much.
Yep.
So James Cook's one of the auto starts, and then between Genty, Rico, Jalen Warren, Pittman, Shakir, who are the other three you were going?
Well, I'll definitely do Genty of this group. He should volume his way each and don't watch like this. Genty should volume his way to a decent day for you in most of these awful matchups rest of season. He proved it. I think last week was a good game, but 2 weeks ago, I think he had a tough matchup and came through for you as like a RB2. So that's what you're looking at. And then if I have to pick two more, I'll go Shakir. He's got a great matchup, and you hope for what he produced for you last week. And if he doesn't get that level of volume, you hope for the score. And then it's between Pittman against Derek Stingley. I don't like that. We just talked about that, so I'm probably out. I'll probably go Rico of this group, but Rico is splitting a ton of work with Chuba, just like Warren splits work with Gainwell. So that scares me. Jalen Warren with a much better matchup, but I'll probably go with the volume plays. So I'll go those three backs: Cook, Genty, Rico, and Shakir.
Yeah, I think the frustrating thing for Rico is he's not much of a target earner, even though the last month he's been decently earning targets, but that's not really that's not his forte, right? So yeah, I'm with you. I think it's totally fine. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and sit Pittman this week. We don't need to play him. I think I have Warren above Rico in my rankings this week. I'm not 100% sure need to check that, but yeah, I think the auto two are Cook and Genty. And then another question from Jason. Do you start defenses against your own players? For example, I have Genty in the Chargers D. Yeah, I think you're just looking to get the most points out of each position you're starting. So I understand the pathway because you don't want to be like rooting against your player and the defense too. But they both can score points like separate ways, right? The defense can create turnovers, interceptions, sacks, things of that nature that don't really impact your running back. But yeah, it sucks for you having players on both sides. They have to root against them, particularly on a defense, because you're rooting for the defense and then you're rooting for the running back too. So that's tough. Does it change this at all for you, or just kind of just picking the best players?
Yeah, Chargers by far are the best. I have them DST 3. I have Dolphins at 9, 49ers at 11. So they're the clear play for me here. And actually, it's pretty nice that when you talk about running backs, if Genty scores multiple touchdowns, you're not happy because that's points scored against your defense. But if you can get turnovers, especially in the passing game, which is where we see more turnovers, if you can get a pick six, those sorts of things are very valuable to your D as well. And the Chargers against those Raiders, against Geno Smith and that Swiss cheese D, if there's one thing that the Chargers can do, it's rush the passer. And so I will, I'll play the Chargers easily.
Yeah, 100%. I'm with you. Like, I get it. It's frustrating, but you just kind of go with the best option and just root for them both. You realize if you play enough fantasy leagues, you have to divide your rooting interest quite a bit, where you're going to be rooting in guys in one league and then rooting against them in others. It's not the most fun thing in the world, but it's what we do because we're degenerates, so we love this game. So if you ever want to join 20-plus leagues, Jason, prepare yourself for that. That's what it is.
Wait. And if you ever want to join our Discord, I'm going to repost the link in the chat. Feel free to join us, show up, show out. It's here. I'm trying to copy and paste it. I don't think I can. I should have done something smarter and repasted it ahead. I'll put it back in the chat and shut up about it, and let's answer the next question.
Yeah, we'll put it in the description after this is fully posted. We'll be smart about it. We'll be smart about this. Scott wants to know Michael Pittman, Hunter Henry, Deebo Samuel. I don't know how big this premium is, Scott, so maybe you want to clarify what it is. We'll say it's 1.5 because that's what most tight end premiums are. For me, I'm going Deebo Samuel. It's Deebo's role is good. I'm also worried about Terry this week, so I think Terry gets shut down a little bit more, right? Hunter Henry had a good matchup last week. It is not a good matchup this week. It is a very bad matchup this week for Hunter Henry. So for me, I have this Deebo Samuel. Are you going Deebo? Are you going Hunter Henry? Or are you going Michael Pittman, who we just talked down about?
Yeah, I can't consistently go Hunter Henry. I understand it, but Steph Diggs is HIM. He is going to absolutely crush Travion Henderson in the backs, potentially both backs. This is what you do against the Giants. You run the football. I think Hunter Henry could get there, but he's got to score a touchdown, right? So even in a premium, I'll go Deebo. The thing about Marcus Mariota is he does not throw to Zach Ertz much, and he certainly doesn't throw it into the end zone. In every game started this season, Zach Ertz has 0 touchdowns with Marcus Mariota. You hope those go to Deebo because this is a horizontal offense because it has to be. Maybe McLaurin gets it more vertical. But yeah, I'll go Deebo here.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah, it's 1.5. Tight end premium. Jason also wants to know if Tyler Warren misses, which tight end is the best this week? Theo Johnson, who's been pretty good with Jackson Dart at the helm, as opposed to Jameson. AJ Barner's in a part-time role. It's just too hard to trust him unless you count a touchdown. Dalton Schultz, Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram has been just a nothing burger this year. I don't think you can talk yourself into him. I think it's really between Theo Johnson and Dalton Schultz. Where do you have those two ranked, and who is your top dog this week?
In the last 4 games, Theo Johnson, half PPR, tight end 11, 8, 20, and 8. And he's only scored a touchdown in one of those 4 games. He's doing it for you. You don't love back end tight end 1 numbers, but he's getting that consistent volume, over 70 yards in 2 of his last 3 games as well. Those are with Dart and with Jameis. So all of this is very helpful to your confidence in him. It's Wandale 1, Theo Johnson 2, maybe Tyrone Tracy 3. Darius Slayton isn't reliable enough. Isaiah Hodgins, all right, he showed up last week, but will he show up again? Theo Johnson is the guy that you want to start in this offense. And over these other options, I'm starting him confidently. Just quickly, just seeing where he is in my tight end rankings. He is number 13. The other guys are significantly further down.
We like Theo. He's a good player. He looks promising. And they may have found something in New York. They got their time in the future. It looks good. Yeah, I have him right there with you. I think him and Schultz are back to back. Actually, if Schultz had a better matchup, if it wasn't against Colts, I would be happily starting him a little bit higher because he has seen a ton of volume in this offense. Like, it's been pretty surprising to see the volume Schultz has gotten. But yeah, I'm with you. We roll with Theo this week, and we hope it checks out against New England. So maybe he finds the end zone, even though your Patriots are probably going to roll. All right, JC Reyes wants to know. Half PPR, Gadsden versus Vegas or Strange? So another tight end question. Are we going Strange versus Tennessee Titans, or are we going Gadsden against Vegas? Where are you leaning on these two?
Especially in half PPR. You got to go Brenton Strange. Brenton Strange not only has the volume that you want to see, even though it's not high-end volume. He's getting 5 to 6-ish targets a game, but he is getting the kind of deeper seam routes, being able to push it further downfield. His yards per target, 18.6 yards per target. For a tight end, that's pretty good. That at least was what he did. That's what he did last week, right, against Arizona. But this Tennessee matchup is fantastic. Also, Las Vegas, sneaky good against the tight end. That's a combination of Jeremy Chin and whatever else they got on the inside there, just plugging up the middle. You can get by in Vegas throwing the football on the outside. But in the middle, it's a more difficult. We know Gadsden has the game, the ability to break a play open, but Brenton Strange is sneaky athletic as well. And he's being used, and there's fewer mouths here, even with Jacoby being ramped up. I'm going to go Strange. How about you?
Yeah, I have Gadsden slightly above him, but yeah, the Strange stuff is nice to see that him coming back, because I was trying to do the Hunter Long thing there. That did not work out at all. And I was like, well, okay, I guess it is just Strange. Showing he's the most valuable of those guys. I think weekly basis, Gadsden's role is better. But yeah, the matchup is better for Strange this week. So I'm fine rolling him in half PPR. You know what you're getting. You're just chasing upside on this in half PPR because, the targets aren't really going to do much either. So, yep, they're in the same range for me. But I am with you. I will go with Strange over Gadsden. Just shows you how it is week to week at tight ends. Smarty, thank you for joining us, wants to know, is he dropping Alvin Kamara? Yeah, I'm fine with dropping Alvin Kamara. It sucks.
Or who?
That is also the question. His wide receivers are Puka, London, Smith, and Pickens. Well, Puka and Pickens, that's a good combo, and then you have Smith, and then London if he ever comes back. Running backs are Jalen Warren, Javonte Williams, and Kenneth Walker. Okay, so Javonte, Warren, and then whatever the hell Kenneth Walker is. I guess it depends who's available on your waiver wire. Like, are you picking were you going to pick up Devin Neal? Sure, one of those guys. Yeah, if Manunga is available, absolutely. He's already played, so you have to wait till the waivers roll next week, right? But yeah, like, I'd happily get any of those guys. I think if you need somebody that has a potential in the pathway, I'm fine dropping them for Kamara or dropping Kamara for them. If you can't put them on IR, like if you have someone on IR spot, moving forward with that. So yeah, I'm okay dropping Kamara. It's unfortunate, is what it is. Yes, do not forget, this is our Discord. They'll be in the chat later, so thank you. Please join us there. We talk ball all the time there. We are degenerates. Come join us. Have some fun with us. Scott wants to know, Mayor Stafford. And Scott, how many times did I tell you this? Mobile quarterback every time, my friend. Start Drake May. It is insanely hard to put Stafford into like his top 6 rankings. It's very difficult to take Drake May out of those rankings, I will just say, because Stafford is so touchdown dependent, and May gives you that ridiculous amount of rushing upside. So for me, these guys are pretty segmented tiers apart. I know Stafford's been awesome, and he has good matchups, but he never gets in that top 6 for me. I know you put him there occasionally. Where do you have Stafford this week? And do you have him above May?
Jesse, he is my quarterback 6 this week.
Right
On the bubble. Great matchup. He's going to throw 3 touchdown passes in this game, but he's going to give you probably 0 rushing yards and 0 rushing touchdowns. Drake May, my QB3. How dare you, Scott? How dare you? You know the correct answer, Pats fan. Just homer your way to a victory. Listen, I've seen my San Francisco 49ers friends who are fans homer their way to victories. These Kansas City Chiefs fans homering their ways to victories in fantasy football. We were never able to do this as Pats fans, by the way, because it was Tom Brady throwing to whoever the hell he wanted to. Now we can do it with Drake May. Hopefully you got Steph Diggs too. Plug them both in and profit.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's all about, baby. You know what to do. What up, Huncho? Welcome to the show. What's our expectation for RJ Harvey against the Commanders? Jeremy kind of laid it out earlier, so you want to go check the chat a little bit earlier, but we both like him. Borderline RB1 this week into that performance against Washington's defense, which is very susceptible to running backs. I expect them to have a good game. So, yeah, if I have RJ Harvey, I am firing him up.
Yes.
And some of these situations with Harvey, like he's probably your RB3 or RB4 on your teams. Depending on who I have in my running back room, I might just flex RJ Harvey in those situations. But I got a couple teams that are just bearing it running back, and RJ Harvey, I'm like, thank you, good lord. Like we have a startable running back. So, yeah, I think we're firing up across the board if we have him.
Yeah. I'm going to say just beware of the Tower of Terror. I hate that ride. Anything that goes up and down that quickly gets, makes me want to vomit. Much like Sean Payton's usage of RJ Harvey. But guess what? Against Kansas City in week 11, 61% of snaps. His next highest game was 41, and then you see a bunch of 20s and low 30s. Yeah. They're finally using him out of necessity. Tyler Bidet is a bidet. Jaleel McLaughlin might as well be Jaleel White because that guy is more Urkel than he is Stephon. We need RJ Harvey this week against Washington, and he's got a good run out rest of the season. This is the RJ Harvey blow up game after the bye.
All we needed was J.K. Dobbins to die. Shocking. And J.K. Dobbins, what happened? He got injured, like we always talk about. That's just such a life.
Service. Thank you for your service, JK.
The most unfortunate running back in the history of the NFL. This guy cannot catch a break. Yeah, just fire him up.
RB13 on the week, Huncho.
Yeah, it's setting up very well for him. And while I will say Washington is bottom 6 fantasy points against allowed running back, if you adjust for schedule, and particularly on the ground. So Harvey doesn't have to do it in the air; he can do it on the ground. Like they're going to get a lot of yards. We kind of talked about this a little bit earlier. I have Vidal over Neal because of my concerns with Neal. But say tomorrow we know like how the schedule plays out, like we have this projected. Where do you have these two? Who's the top dog for you between Devin Neal or Kamani Vidal? It's a good matchup.
I think I technically have Neal one spot above, but I was kind of counting on Amari and Hampton to come back and play some sort of role. Now that will not happen, I'm going to move Vidal comfortably over Neal, probably up to RB25. So Vidal, then I will have 6 spots ahead of Devin Neal. Go Vidal.
Yeah, it just seems like the safer play of the two. Yeah. We could look back on this and be like, oh, Devin Neal got 20 opportunities in this game.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Yeah, right. And Miami is also a juicy matchup like we talked about. So it's all setting up for Neal. It's just if you trust the volume. I say if you trust that he's going to get the opportunities, you can roll with Neal. Totally fine. I can't bet on that 100% no. So you have a little bit of sample size, not enough to project it for me. So I'm a little bit bullish on that with Vidal. But yeah, Vidal's been good. He's been kind of an every other week thing. It's time for an every other week thing for him. All right, Smarty wants to know. We got actually quite a few questions we got to get to. Let's run through these a little bit quicker. Another start for him. 2 must-be running backs. Rico, he's already starting. Teta, who the heck is Teta?
Ted.
Okay. So he doesn't want to start Rico potentially, but Vidal, Neal. So you got to start 2 of these running backs. Are you going to bench Rico for either Kamani Vidal or Devin Neal?
I don't know. I kind of like Big Bam Knight.
Bam Knight top up?
Yeah, I like Big Bam Knight, but I'll go Vidal and Rico here. But I got to move Bam Knight up my rankings. If I'm starting 4, definitely Wandale, and I will go Shakir over Bam. I'll do the sensible thing, but I do want to start Bam this week.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go with the 3 running backs with Vidal, Neal, and Rico. You could do Bam. I think Bam's fine. I'm a little bit worried about him, and then I'll go Wandale just because his role is much more secure than Shakir's. Shakir is it's weird with Shakir. He's kind of a floor play each and every week, but yeah, Wandale's just been better and his role's better, so I'm just gonna trust that for him. But yeah, it's good. It's good options to have. Imagine saying this at the beginning here. We're talking about Khalil Shakir, Wandale Robinson. Damn night, like you know what I'm saying? It's fantasy football, folks. Smarty wants to know, I'd be picking up T-Law for 1 week because quarterbacks are only Brock Purdy.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. T-Law's got good matchups. Yep. Like I think that's
Tennessee.
Totally fine.
Yep.
Yeah, and the Daniel Jones, you nailed it. Daniel Jones is not going to be running. I'm very worried about starting Daniel Jones. So if you need to drop him, totally can. We'll see. We'll see how this plays out. But if he's not rushing, man, it's just he's not the best passer. We'll agree. And then if Warren doesn't play, we talked about Strange over Daltz. It's totally fine. Yep. But Dalton Schultz is fun. Like both of those guys, similar for me. Similar. We talked about this earlier, Steven. It's same range of players how we're projecting these two. We like the upside Waller. Johnson's a little bit safer just because Waller's first game back, he ran very limited routes, but he got a touchdown. That kind of saved him in that game. We know Jauan Johnson's getting way more routes run, so like I think that's kind of what breaks it for me. But they're close. Yeah, they're close.
Agree.
On what show can you tie in RJR?
Scott, we appreciate the hell out of you, my man.
Yeah, we're just gonna see. Are we going? Okay, Mechie had a really good breakout game last week. His role was really good. He was like 18% target share in that game. He was just the guy that was attached to the line of scrimmage, kind of like a Khalil Shakir, same type of thing, where AD Mitchell was pushing 24 yards per attempt on his freaking opportunities. So it shows you the variance of those two guys. Are you going to start John Mechie over Cortland Sutton? I think that's a bit
Hell no. Listen, Tyrod Taylor is an NFL quarterback. I was the biggest Justin Fields apologist. I was happy to fire him up and keep going back to that well. I'm done at this point. You see it with a lot of these quarterbacks. You're seeing it with JJ McCarthy right now, which is the reason we've made a change. You're seeing it with a couple of these guys, Kyler, which is the reason they made a change because he's on IR. You're seeing it with these quarterbacks. If you cannot get the football consistently and accurately to your studs, you will be replaced. Now, Tyrod's a good quarterback. He's showing that he can do that. But Mechie is not Cortland Sutton. And Cortland Sutton has a phenomenal matchup this week against Washington. You have to play Cortland Sutton this week. Maybe Mechie has a good game. Maybe Mechie or Vidal is a better question. That's a little bit more interesting to me. Mechie or Neal. But yeah, I'm still going Sutton pretty clearly here.
Yeah, we have one sample of Mechie that is nice to pull off of, but that is one game. And that was Baltimore. Their pass defense is still susceptible. I will just say that. So we might need to pump the brakes with Mechie. Easy to pick up. All right, so we're gonna have a bunch of kicker talk, which is kind of crazy because we never talk kickers on the show. So prepare yourself, folks. We're starting out with Jamie's quick question. Dicker or Little? Where are you at in the rankings with these Jeremys? Because I honestly don't even rate kickers. So I like when they ask me, I'm like, I'm done this on the fly. Who do you have ranked higher, Dicker or Little?
I don't even really rank kickers, but I technically do. But I got Cam Little at 3, Cameron Dicker at 5. The matchups are good for both of these. Cam Little actually on the road at Tennessee, and we'll have to see what's going on with the weather system because I know in the middle of the country it's not looking so good, at least in Cleveland last week. At least Dicker's at home in a better environment, but I think Jacksonville just scores a ton in this game. And because they're Jacksonville, the scoring a ton is not always scoring touchdowns. They do struggle down in the red zone at time, even still. So I'm going to go Dicker here. I'm going to go Little here. I think they move the football and they have multiple field goals, which is what we're looking for.
100% makes total sense. I love that call. We're going to go with that. These kickers in order this week or rest of the season. We're gonna do this. We're not gonna okay. Dicker once again. Kaimi Fairbairn or Chase. I'm not sure who the hell's Chase. The kicker. Chase McLaughlin.
Yeah. I don't know. Yes. Good one. Okay. You did it.
I was like, who is that? Yeah. Okay. So those 3 kickers. That shows you how much attention I pay to kickers. Yeah. Those 3 kickers. How do you have these ranked, Jeremy, for this week? We're not going to do rest season because forget that.
I got Dicker at 5, McLaughlin 7, Fairbairn 8. Fairbairn's nice because even though he's on the road, he's still in the dome and Indy. You gotta love those dome matchups. Chase McLaughlin in Arizona, so he's got some dry air. That's good. But Dicker back in Los Angeles. I just expect this team to move the ball and Vegas to be good enough to stop them. That's really what I'm looking at. Defenses that will give up a ton of yardage, but not necessarily give up the touchdowns as easily. I think you have that in Indianapolis. I think you have that with all of these defenses, but I think Cameron Dicker is the one who's on a consistently better offense, especially with the injury to Baker. I'll go Dicker.
And then we'll throw Myers into that discussion as well, because this is our third straight kicker question. And then we'll be done with kicker questions. Whatever.
Thank God.
But does Jason Myers rank over Kami Fairman?
Myers at 2. At home against Minnesota. Yes. That Minnesota offense is awful. They're going to Max Brosmer is going to get roughed up. I'm going to keep it PG here. Yes, I was going to say he's going to get roughed up.
Go home in a body bag.
Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of field goal opportunities, especially later as they just run the clock out. I think Seattle dominates this week.
Yeah, I am with you. Good luck, Vikings fans. I'm sorry you get to go experience that, because it does not look fun. I know people are excited for Brosmer. I mean, it can't be worse than JJ McCarthy. I'll just say that. It's literally true. It's almost impossible for him to be worse than JJ McCarthy. All right, Frizzle, what's up? Thanks for joining us. Do we think he comes back? I think it's possible. If NFL players, it's really hard to keep them off the field, particularly guys like this that run franchises like Jayden Daniels does. Like if he says, I want to play, they're yeah, we're not going to bench you. So I think he can come back. Yeah, I mean, it depends on your quarterback situation at 1QB. Like, are you struggling at 1QB? Sure, pick him up. But like, I don't think you need to force and go get him, particularly if you have one of the elite quarterbacks, a Hurts, a May, any one of those guys, because you're not really getting upside. So if you're scraping the barrel at quarterback, pick him up. Outside of that, I think you can just leave him because you don't need him. Unless you want to play keep away in the playoffs or some nonsense like that. You can do that if you have the room for it. But if you have small benches, I would not worry about that too much.
Fair.
Yeah, Jamie, we're not doing punters. Who starts punter? What kind of degenerate league has punters?
I will say I have heard of these two punters, but when pressed over the last 2 weeks, I haven't been able to name an actual punter off the top of my head. So now I got one in the bag. Does Johnny Hecker still play in the league? Good Lord.
I thought he'd been out of the league for like 5 years. I don't even know who the Seahawks punter is, to tell you the truth. Defense, Chargers or Jaguars? Yeah, exactly.
I think I got the Chargers higher, actually, although the Jags defense they're showing me something. I got Chargers at 3, Jags at 4. They're right there because Jags get Tennessee. The difference is Chargers are at home and the Jags are on the road. So I'll go Chargers barely. Flip a coin. Great plays this week, both of them.
Yeah, both of them. Home teams, heavy favorites like that. It's a strong bet with this like that. So yeah, I'm with you on that. That makes no sense. Yeah, exactly, JB. You're good. Don't worry about it at all. So fantasy defense, we kind of talked about it a little bit. We like Chargers a lot. Jaguars a lot as well too, but Chargers are the top. Who's your defense one? I would say that.
Oh, it's the Broncos against Marcus Mariota and the Washington Commanders. Pat Surtain back. I just think they turn him over a bunch. They're going to do whatever the hell they want. But the Rams are really close. The Rams are second. Because McLaurin's back, I may push the Rams up to number 1. But it's Broncos, Rams in some form 1-2, and then the Chargers, Jags 3-4.
There you go, Jason. Chargers it is. Grab them. Or if you miss out, grab the Jaguars.
Yep.
Yeah. He's going. We're going to force him to do it. You're going to be grinding that tape in the offseason. He'll be the number 1 kicker strategist of all time. Don't you worry, Scott. We got you.
Yeah. If we left it up to Jamie, it'd be the thicker kicker every single week. Gotta get Mevis, whatever the hell his name is.
Enough of the kickers. We're moving on. Okay. So this is tough with Egbuka. We can hit on this a little bit, and we're going to wrap this up soon. Tet is really good. Egbuka is really good. Like with Baker expected to potentially play. They haven't given us a full word if he's going to play.
He's trying.
He's going to try. So this is going to be a game time decision tomorrow. So you have to pay attention to how this goes. I almost feel better at this point if they just rest him and let Teddy Bridgewater be the quarterback because Teddy Bridgewater shows he can support. We don't want to do this with Baker. You want him for the playoffs, Tampa Bay. You're going to make the playoffs. Like, don't worry about it. I know Carolina's actually right there and they're in the hunt for it. So I get it. But yeah, let's say if Baker does play, are you dropping Egbuka below Tet and or Kamani Vidal in your rankings?
I already did it. I got Tet at 15, Egbuka at 16. And I hate Tet's matchup against the Rams. It's awful.
Yeah,
I
it's rough.
hate his quarterback situation. Bryce has been so inconsistent. These smaller quarterbacks cannot see over the offensive line. It's just a fact. It limits them, and they need to really consistently, as Kyler was doing years ago, consistently roll out of the pocket so that they can. Russell Wilson, prime example, so that they can fucking see the receivers to get them the football. If they don't do this and they're trying to just run a blanket normal offense, you can't see. And I'm still going Tet here. I'm still going Tet 1 over Buka. I'm worried about Baker playing this game.
Yeah, I'm with you. Kamani Vidal is really interesting. I think that's fun play. But yeah, if you just look at short quarterbacks, look at the middle of the field. They do not target the middle of the field. Bryce Young is a little bit of an exception because he can kind of see it. But the middle of the field's a ghost town, and you don't want to do that with an NFL offense. Why take away offensive spots that you need, right? So, Smarty, thank you for that question. Asked this because I was wondering why number one. Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised he's not because Meyer's been awesome this entire year, and the Seahawks offense just keeps 1 point. So can't go wrong with that. Yeah. That is surprising, though. I guess people are not paying attention to kickers in the league. That would be my assumption. And Jeremy, are you going to put Bam above Kamani Vidal? Or are you going to do it? Because you were hyping him up a little bit earlier on the show.
I'd like to, but no, I'm not going to do that. I think the issue is, look, at Tampa Bay, the thing is you have to pass the ball against Tampa Bay, and you're not passing the ball as much to Bam Knight as we'd like to see because he's been decent at catching the ball, especially with DeMarcado out. But Vidal can do that too. He's in a better offense. He's got the better matchup. I'm going to go Vidal over Bam this week.
Yeah, because they're going to use Michael Carter in the passing down situation, and you'll see something like he gets 5 to 7 targets in this game, and that's what sucks. So unfortunately, we know Kamani has a better pathway to getting more volume. They're also favorites in that game. I think it works out well for him. So yeah, we're both Vidal over Bam. All right, let's wrap it up. We made it over an hour. I'm surprised, but we did it.
Yep.
We're going to wrap it up. So check this while we're here for the next minute or two. Check this out.
Yep.
This is our TikTok account. Go to that, like, you subscribe, join us over there because we do lots of fun shows. We'll be doing over there after this. Jeremy is. I don't know if I'm going to because my daughter's waiting for an hour. Probably not. But it's going to be Jeremy going live on TikTok. So we'll keep 15 minutes as we ramble. 5 minutes. We'll be there. He'll be holding it down, answer your questions. I'll be going live the hour before tomorrow on Sunday. So I'll be over there doing that tomorrow. Jeremy will be here. Are you going to go an hour before tomorrow on Sit Start?
We'll do an hour before. We've been seeing the volume. Come back tomorrow. Get your start sit questions answered 1 hour before kickoff. You can go to this link over here. You can see Jesse's mug over on TikTok. Get him to answer your question tomorrow. Come back here. Get me to answer your question as well. The best of both universes. That's what we love. We're all over the places, baby. We're all that Venn diagram. Jeremy and Jesse just interlapping across all of them. Well, hey, have your 6-year-old ask some questions. This is how you get him into fantasy, Jamie. Sorry, the question's not up. Probably just talking to nobody. Well done by me. We got some producing stuff going on here. And Jamie, yeah, I'd start Wandale over Sutton, but Sutton's a good play. I have Wandale top 20. Sutton's just outside it for me. But Jeremy's going Sutton. I already know. Yeah, Sutton. Jeremy's going Sutton. Yeah, Sutton's good. Like, they're both good matchups. I think you should play both of them this week, honestly. All right, enough talking. Join Jeremy on TikTok in 5 minutes. We'll see you later. Y'all have a good Saturday, and we'll see you tomorrow. Like and follow.
FFU. FFU.